Like I said, we're just waiting back for the signal from the studio. As soon as that comes back, we will definitely continue with the program. I say good evening to those of you that have joined us. This is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And the topic tonight is election 2023 versus Yoruba nation, the Biafra nation, the Middle Belt nation, and the Arewa nation. Is Nigeria going to survive, the test of time? Are we going to see a Nigeria that will divide, or are we going to see a Nigeria that would eventually, survive 2023? All these are questions that we will all be looking at, tonight. Once again, I say good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Like I said, if you're watching us on Star Radio UK, we are waiting, for the signal to come back, and then we will continue.
And the host of your weekly business show, the show where we start everything you ever.
If you're watching us on all the other platforms, you will probably, get the signal from me very soon. The engineers are working on the sound behind the scene. I say good evening once again to those of you that have joined us.
To get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate you, rather, put your future.
Once again, I say good evening to those of you that have joined us so far. We're just waiting for the studio to come back, and then we will deal with the problem. As I say, we're having some technical problems behind the scene, and that will be resolved very soon. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. I say good evening to those of you that have joined us. It is called Niger Voices on Star Radio UK. And this is how we do it every Wednesday, where we discuss the issues affecting the indigenous people, the issues affecting Nigerians as a whole. But who is truly a Nigerian is a question. A lot of people have now asked the question, who is truly a Nigerian? And how do we identify a Nigerian? Because all we have been told for the last 62 years is some people are Nigerians, but nobody have told us that that is just the creation of the British government in 1914. And the question is now, a lot of people are now confused. Like I said, we're just waiting. As soon as I get a signal, we will be going back to the studio. But that is being rectified as we speak right now. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and I say good evening and welcome. Which way, Nigeria? Which way to go? Do you still love that fatherland? Or are you of the view that that fatherland must now be dissolved? Do you still love the fatherland? Or are you of the view that the fatherland is not actually where we are?
It tells me my energy is making me tired. How do you get the energy to do this? I have no energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match people. I have met my matchmaker. Sudan. Wow, amazing. One of the things that we've done before, that's wanted ourselves and the one that just and 2019,
forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Star Radio.
Well, like I said, we're still waiting for the signal, so bear with us, those of you that have joined us tonight. while I'm still waiting for our signal. Fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa nílé lóko, ẹ má bínú sí wa pé we have some technical problem from the studio, and that is being rectified as I speak to you right now, and that will be resolved quickly, and then the program will start. But for now,
on the Family Enrichment Program on Star Radio UK, this and every Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. Today's typical family is under pressure from various directions. Divorce is becoming more and more.
Once again, bear with us as we wait to resolve the problem. When that problem is resolved, we will then go ahead with the full program of the day.
The family can do without the society, but the society can listen to the family enrichment. This and every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 on Star Radio UK, your favorite Afro-Caribbean radio station.
A lot of things happening, and a lot of people are asking, can Nigeria survive?
Download our app in iTunes and the Google Play Store.
The current situation that is actually being faced in Nigeria. Do you think that Nigeria will survive it? Time will tell. Time will actually tell if Nigeria will survive it or not. I actually watched a video. I don't know about some of you have watched it. A young boy that was injected by a nurse in Lagos Hospital, somewhere in Lagos, and the boy actually died. Both the doctor and the nurses all ran away. Can we continue like this? Is the question that I'm asking a lot of you. Who actually still believe in one Nigeria? While we are waiting for the signal from the studio, we're just preparing the ground. As soon as I get a signal, we'll go back straight to the studio. But for now, we're just waiting. This is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station.
Hi everyone, this is your host of the Voice every year. And the host of your weekly different show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever want to know about business that you were afraid about.
Like I said, we're just waiting
How do I raise finance?
for that signal to come back, and then we can kickstart.
Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life take you, rather, put your success.
While we are waiting for the studio, we will just wait patiently, and then after that, we will kickstart the program again. Mr. Owolabi will be buried on the 1st, but the wakekeeping is happening tomorrow. I'm sure a lot of you remember Mr. Owolabi that was killed by the Fulani terrorists in Nigeria on the July 29. May his soul rest in peace. There's a lot happening in Nigeria. We still have 20 innocent Nigerians that are still in the hands of the captivity of the Fulani terrorists.
On your smartphone. In your car. On your smartphone.
Once again, I'm still waiting for the signal. As soon as I get a signal, then we will go ahead with the program. But for now, we just have to wait patiently. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and I say good evening to you all if you're watching us from all over the world. Nigeria at the verge of breakup. Do you believe in that? Do you agree with that? as so many Nigerians are now questioning Nigeria as a country. Do you think that Nigeria will survive 2023? Are we going to see the breakup of Nigeria before election 2023? All these are questions that we're looking at on Niger Voices tonight. Do you think that Nigeria will break up? What is your take on that? Like I said, these are all the questions that is begging for answer.
Tells me my energy is
Good evening to those of you that have joined us from all over the world. Bear with us. We're still waiting for the signal.
I met my matchmaker, Susan. Wow, amazing. One of the things that we've done before, that's rooted myself.
The unity of one Nigeria is now being questioned.
Forget the proverbial
Millions of indigenous
Join
people.
me, Simone Frazier, on
But
the
there was nothing called
CEO, the
Nigeria
program that
before
gives you
2020,
the driving seat
before
over your
1900,
life.
before
Every Tuesday,
1940.
8
Nothing called
a.m. on the
Nigeria
program
before
that gives you
2020. And these are all the questions that a lot of people are now asking. There was nothing called Nigeria, the test of time. The campaign started in Nigeria. What is your take about the campaign that have just kicked off as we speak right now in Nigeria? The politicians will start their campaign. We're also expecting the mega rally to come soon.
Listen to Aunties Mary, Lottie, and Regina on the Family Enrichment Program on Star Radio UK. This and every Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m.
There is a lot happening, as a lot of people are now asking so many questions that is begging for answer.
Bring together a team qualified experts to discuss and shed light on how we make our families better and stronger. It is said the family can do without society, but the society can listen to the family enrichment. This and every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Star Radio UK, your favorite Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
Download our app in iTunes and the Google Play Store.
Once again, we're just waiting quietly for the studio so that we can get the signal. But for now, I say good evening to those of you that have joined us so far. Can Nigeria survive the test of time? Is a question. Can Nigeria survive the test of time? There is a lot happening back in Nigeria, and so many people are now asking the question, who truly is a Nigerian, and how do we identify a Nigerian? These are all the questions that is begging for answer. Once again, a very good evening to those of you that have joined us from all over the world. While we are still waiting for that signal back from the studio, I'll just enjoy us to let us just enjoy this again while we are waiting for the studio. Let's listen to Janet, and that is Arabani. And I say good evening once again to every single one of us that have joined us on Star Radio UK tonight.
Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK.
Araba iko ma gudo.
lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ó kù díẹ̀ akọ̀ndó kí signal padà wá láti studio and then we will just go ahead with the program. A very good evening once again if you're joining us for the first time. This is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station. Once again, a very good evening and welcome. I'm just waiting for the studio, and as soon as there's a signal, I will be going back to the studio. A very good evening and welcome once again. Election 2023 Yoruba Nation Mega Rally. All this is coming up.
How do you get the energy to do all these
Namazise,
My goodness, I think today I have my match
for your life.
my match Wow, amazing.
One of the things that is not myself.
Once again, a very good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK.
Fabulous. Join me, Simone Frazier, the program that gives you the driving seat over your head every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only.
Yoruba nation, you know, going back in. And I be the show. Oh, my good, oh, my good, oh,
once again, a very good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK.
Mary, Sophie, and the Dice.
Lẹ́ẹ̀kan ṣe má bínú sí wa pé orí báyìí lálẹ́ yìí. Sometimes it's like this. Andrew the signal láti studio. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ fi wọlé. Adékúnlé Àlàbí ní Fúlàní are the first citizen of Nigeria. Any cow is the second citizen, while Hausa were the top citizen. Shikena, Yoruba Nigeria is not our country. Let's go to Yoruba Nation, which is our own.
This is everything from 6 p.m. to 8 on Star Radio UK, your favorite Afro-Caribbean radio station.
Download it on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
Ẹ má bínú pé ẹ̀ ń gẹ́tì two different sound. Ìkan wá láti studio, ìkan wá látọ̀dọ̀ tèmi. Wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ lórí ti studio yẹn lọ́wọ́. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí, I say good evening and welcome, and I guess we are now back in the studio. I say good evening to my listeners and viewers, and we would like to apologize for all these bit of technical problem that we were having and I believe all that has been resolved, by the engineer that are working, quietly behind the scene to resolve those problems. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and I'll be, your host for tonight. As we are all, looking to a lot of situation in Nigeria, a lot of people are asking different questions, and those questions are begging for answer. And our job tonight is to try as much as possible, to look into all these questions that a lot of our Nigerians are asking. Some Nigerians will probably not ask those questions because they are worried, they are scared. Nigeria is a country that if you speak your heart, you are likely to face the consequence of that. So a lot of Nigerians are not saying a lot because they do not want to have the situation between them and the government of Nigeria. So that means so many Nigerians tonight are not saying a lot. I welcome you once again. This is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and I could not have said better that my engineer, my producer, and the rest of the team back in the studio that are working quietly, as we can now say we've resolved, the problem. We are just about almost 40 minutes behind the schedule, but we will try to make it up, and then we will catch up as quickly as possible. There's a lot happening in Nigeria. As the election is getting closer, I'll be giving you, the timeline to this election. How many more days, according to what we have? It might just be a bit different, just maybe about 10 days or probably thereabout. But a lot of Nigerians that are preparing for the 2023 election, likewise those that also say that we are not Nigerians. How do we manage all these crises? How do we solve the problem? How do we manage all these?
At home, on your smartphone. In your car, at home, on your smartphone. Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
Well, this is Star Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and my name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. 48 hours before the expiration of the letter that the Yoruba self-determination movement by the leader, Professor Banji Akintoye, will expire. That would eventually expire on Friday, the 30th of September. And my question then is, are we likely to see any changes? Or is the government going to respond to that letter? What is your take on that? Do you think that the federal government will respond to the letter of the Yorubas that are asking that they have a kind of a dialogue with the federal government to allow them to peacefully and quietly dissolve outside Nigeria? Do you think that is eventually going to happen? Do you think that the federal government would allow Nigeria and the Yorubas and the Biafra and the Middle Belt to have a discussion about their existence of being part of what we call Nigeria that was put together by the British government in 1914? What about the other African countries? Do you think that the African countries would expect a Nigeria to break up? Election is around the corner, and today makes it officially, according to INEC, that the campaign eventually starts. What is your own expectation? What is your own reaction to all these happening in Nigeria in our lifetime? We've lived in Nigeria for the last 62 years. October 1st, Nigerians around the world, for those that still believe in Nigeria, I do not believe in Nigeria anymore, and that is my own personal view, that Nigeria should now allow the indigenous people to have their own country, just as countries that are not even up to 12,000. We talked about different countries around the world. But there's a particular country that so many of us will probably not know. It's called Tuvalu. Tuvalu is a country with less than 12,000 population, and they have their own system of government. Tuvalu is also in the South Pacific, is an independent island nation within the British Commonwealth. It is 9 islands comprises small, tiny, populated atolls and a reef island with the palm fringed beaches and the World War II site. Tuvalu is just about 11,792 population as at 2020 according to the World Bank. Tuvalu also have their own culture, their own language. And if you have a Tuvalu passport, it is more valuable than a Nigerian passport. A population with less than 12,000. My question then is, do we really want to keep Nigeria? But the politicians are saying we can rectify and bring the unity and the love together. As we are seeing the PDP inauguration in Abuja today, we know that the APC presidential candidate is currently back in London on a medical treatment. Peter Obi, court rules against occupying Lekki Toll Gate. So that means Peter Obi will not be having his campaign rally at the site where the federal government killed innocent Nigeria on the 20th of October 2020. While Nigerians were carrying their flags, singing the national anthem, the military shot and killed and took away the bodies. I'm asking the question. Obasanjo, according to the headline that I have here, says, politicians will wreck Nigeria. Do you think that Obasanjo also wrecked Nigeria? What is your take on all these issues in Nigeria today? But the Yorubas are saying that we are one people, one culture, one language. Are we going to see a Biafra nation, a Middle Belt nation, a Yoruba nation? Or do we see a Nigeria that will survive all these atrocities that has been part of Nigeria? I have the privilege to receive a letter that I'm going to read to us. This is the view of the British government on Nigeria. I say good evening to every single one of you that have joined me tonight on Naija Voices. And my name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. And I'll be your host up to 8:30 p.m. local time in Nigeria and here in the United Kingdom. The weather is very beautiful, but as you can tell, this is why I want to have a Yoruba nation where I can go back and then live in the climate that is much more conducive than the one that we are currently living here in the United Kingdom. Do you think that Nigeria will survive? I was actually playing my first track, but because we were having issues with the sound, but we've been able to resolve that now, and I say thank you so much with my producer, Mr. Archie, that had to quickly do so much work, and the engineer to make sure that the sound is being rectified. Let's listen to this.
This is Star Radio UK.
It is Star Radio UK.
Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
And it is Star Radio UK if you're joining us for the first time.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Well,
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
and you're right, we are broadcasting 24/7 around the world, and the only way you can enjoy this program is to make sure that you subscribe on the official Twitter handle of Star Radio UK, and you'll be able to get the notification when I'm live, especially on Wednesday when we discuss the matter that is arising between the self-determination. Let us remind ourselves that we know, according to the General Assembly Resolution 1514, Declaration on the Granting of Independence to Colonial Country, self-determination, at the number 2 of that document that was released on 14th of December 1960, says here, and I quote, all peoples have the right to self-determination. By virtue of that right, they are freely determine their political status, freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. But we still have millions of Nigerians that are saying that we can vote APC, PDP, and Labour Party, and we can rectify Nigeria and make Nigeria great again. What is your take on that? Do you think that we can make Nigeria great again? Do you think that Nigeria can be great again? And if you remember, Which Way Nigeria, how many of you remember that song? It was Sonny Okosu that sang Which Way Nigeria, which way to go, which way to go. I love my fatherland. Do you still love the fatherland? Babatunde Okunlowo say, I don't see Nigeria get better than what is currently in the future right now. The students are currently at home since February without going back to school. Keep your comment coming. I say good evening to Akim Kolawole, and I guess all the sound is back as well. Good evening to those of you on the Instagram. Good evening to those of you on all our platforms, and I can see all the comment coming through. Good evening to you, Maze Gold. You say we have to try to live with we have tried to live with each other for 62 years. Even we don't speak the same language. Good evening once again, Miss Gold. David Bright, good evening to you. Good evening to those of you that are watching us on all different platforms. Dr. Benjamin said, Nigeria was never great in the first place. How can you make it great? Let us listen to Sonny Okosu. If you can remember the year of this song, I will give you something, and that something will be, is going to be the discussion tonight. Let's listen to this. Who remember this? Who remember this song? Which way? Which way? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. How many of you love the fatherland? Once again, this is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And this is how we do it every Wednesday as we discuss the issues affecting Nigerians, the indigenous people. We are live here in the studio. It is exactly 7 minutes before 7 p.m., the 28th of September 2022. How many of you remember that our brother that was killed back in Nigeria, July 29, will be buried this coming week? And I'll be giving you all the details. But for now, we are live in the studio. And I say good evening once again to those of you that are watching us from around the world. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I know my fatherland. Oh, yeah. I want to know. I want to know. How many of you love the fatherland known as Nigeria? How many of you love the fatherland? Somebody just gave me the details, says the song was released in 1984. That was just 1 year after the current President Muhammadu Buhari overthrown during the coup in 1983. Many years after the independence, we are still finding it very difficult to live together. Why is it that we are finding it difficult to live together since 1960 after the independence? How many of you can answer that question? I say good evening to those of you. I say Abdul Wahid, good evening to you. Alabido, good evening to you. Oloyede, good evening to you. You say Ekweto. And I say good evening to those of you on the Instagram. How many of you know the reason why we've not been able to live together peacefully after the independence that was given to us by the British government in 1960? How long shall we be patient before we reach the... How long are we going to be patient? How long are we going to be patient? Tuvalu is just less than 12,000 citizens. They have their culture, they have their language, they have their prime minister that also represented during the United Nations General Assembly. The question then is, who is scared of the Yoruba, the Biafra, the Middle Belt nation, or is it going to be the election that will make Nigeria great again? Are we going to reach the promised land in 2023, or are we just going to say Nigeria is still, once again, a very good evening to Idowu Michael. Nigeria is a death trap to us since I was born. Olu Labi, good evening to you. Good evening to those of you that have joined us. This is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I say good evening to every single one of you that have joined us. And this weekend is going to be a lot of activities. As you are joining us on Star Radio UK, I say every Wednesday, this is how we do it. How many of you still think that we can still save Nigeria? 2023 is getting closer, and the rest of the country is now saying it is not working. Ayomi Kundami, you said Nigeria is sitting on a Nigeria is sitting on a time explosive. The signs are everywhere. Plus, there are so-called election wrap around a very dangerous time. And let us keep that comment coming. I'll be reading all your comments. Keep the comment coming. Otumba OLAMILEKAN, good evening to you. Adekunle Adekwaju, I cite you, my brother. Which way Nigeria? Adeyemi say incompatibility subject to pure uniship. Do you think that we have been able to live together peacefully for 62 years? Nigeria independence is getting around. A lot of Nigerians are excited. Are you excited that independence is getting closer? Again, I'm asking which way Nigeria that Sonny Okosu asked us in 1984. This is Star Radio UK. This again is Star Radio UK. Once again, this is Star Radio UK.
This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
Yes, it is Star Radio UK. It is Star Radio UK. Good evening to you, Adewusi Owolabi. Keep the comment coming. I'll be reading that. Shegun Honor says, I salute you, our comrade in chief. Which way to go? Which way to go? Which way to go? Once again, this is Star Radio UK. Every Wednesday, this is how I do it, Niger Voices, and I appreciate every single one of you. This is also going to be some information that will be coming up to you, and I'll be giving you all those details. If you are not aware of that, how many of you remember our brother, our uncle, our father that was killed by the Fulani on July 8th? Oh, sorry, July 28th last, July 28th, 2022. I can now confirm officially that on Friday, he will be buried on the 1st of October. His body has been returned back to America. I'm going to be bringing that on. My producer are working to get you the screen of our brother, Oluwagbenga David Owolabi. How many of us remember that he was killed by the Fulani terrorists in Nigeria? His body has now arrived back in America. May so rest in peace. I'm going to give you all the details. He will be buried on the 1st of October at Trinity Life Church, 2122 W. Jock Road, Timonian, MD 21093 in America. But his wakekeeping is also going to be happening this Friday, and I will be taking you through that as well. The event will be transmitted live for those of you that would like to watch that. We are working with them, with the family, to bring you that as well. We also have a documentary that we've done on this, our uncle. How many of you remember him? He was actually killed, just as so many innocent Nigerians have been killed, whether you're an Hausa, whether you're an Igbo, Middle Belt, it doesn't matter. The terrorists have created more havoc. The terrorists have killed more innocent people ever since the government of President Muhammadu Buhari came on the limelight. They promised change, they promised next level, but all these have literally not worked. All we have seen is more calamity upon calamity. The economy today is also on zero. The economy of Nigeria today is not working. But if you remember this, our uncle, our father, he had a business in Nigeria. He has lived in America almost 3 decades. 30 years he lived without being killed in America. Even in the midst of so many of the crises in America. He traveled to Nigeria, but he never made it back to Maryland that he lived with his, with the family. And the family has now taken the body back to United States of America. Let us remember him just as we remember some of these faces. Let me give you some of the faces as well. How many of you remember she was killed just because of her view in a WhatsApp chat in Kano? And the question is, which way Nigeria? Can we live together like this after the election? Let me give you some of those more people that have been killed in Nigeria. How many of you remember that She was also killed with our brother, our uncle. Rachel Okpadele was a final year student that was killed by the Fulani terrorists. She was raped as well multiple times before she was eventually killed. Let me give you more faces of those. How many of you remember this face? He was kidnapped for more than 4 months by the terrorists in Nigeria, and the federal government could not rescue him. He eventually paid huge amount of money with what they called Boko Haram Okada with 2 bags of rice. How many of you remember Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped from Kenya by the federal government of Nigeria, rendition back to Nigeria, is currently inside the DSS custody, and his health is now become worrisome for so many of us. And the question is, Biafra should be allowed to go, the Middle Belt should be allowed to go, the Yoruba should be allowed to go, and if anybody wants to keep the 2023 general election, they can keep that without forcing that on anybody. How many of you remember Dr. Chinelo? Dr. Chinelo was also killed at the 28th of March this year on our way back to Kaduna. 20 innocent Nigerians, as I speak to you today, are still in the hands of the captivity of the terrorists. And the federal government is not worried and caring about it as well. How many of you remember Delegiwa? Delegiwa was killed by the sitting government of the time, which was Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, the military dictator, sent a letter bomb to Delegiwa. As we speak today, nobody has been penalized. Nobody has been served the justice for the death of Delegiwa. This was what the former Minister of Transportation says. Rotimi Amechi, Kaduna train attack. I warned that life would be lost, and eventually life was lost. Let's give you more names than those that have been killed. How many of you remember Jumoke Oyeleke? Jumoke Oyeleke was killed by the Lagos State government on the 21st, on the 3rd of July last year, when there was going to be a peaceful rally. She was not part of the rally, but the Lagos State police killed her, and then up to now, no justice has been served. How many of you remember Chinele? She was murdered by the DSS in Nigeria. How many of you remember her? She was raped and killed inside a BRT that is what to be the Lagos State transportation system. She's our sister. Her body part was removed. Her body was now dumped in Ebute Metta. I say good evening to those of you that have joined us. This is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Sovereignty Yoruba Everlasting says the 1960 independence bestowed on Nigeria by Britain was a fluke, as they already appointed a preferred proxies with the choice of the Fulani stool to safeguard their vested interest. Nigeria is not visible. But the British government disagreed with that. Again, justice for Bamishe. We are asking for the state governor or the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to look into this case as quickly as possible and bring justice to the family of Bamishe, because the family are crying. She has a mother in the 80s. She has a father in the 80s. They cannot give back to somebody like this anymore. So the only thing they can get from the Lagos State government is to give justice to Bamishe. And we are asking that to be done as quickly as possible so that we can have our rest in peace. Once again, this is Star Radio UK, and I'm going to take you back. Again, let us remember ourselves that he was killed, his head was taken away in Ibadan by those that work with the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde. This was a young man with a family that was eventually killed, and his head never been found up to today. He was killed by those that are working in conjunction with the sitting governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde. These are the politicians that are now saying we should go for 2023 election. Again, let us remind ourselves that we still have the bodies of these two that the federal government took away after the invasion of Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho's house. My question is, which way Nigeria? 5 minutes past 7 p.m. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. Let's take this again. How many of you still love Nigeria is the question I'm asking tonight. I say good evening to you, Green for God. Good evening to you, Muyiwa Osinuga. Do we blame the government or do we blame the British government? Who do we actually blame? Because the British government, in a letter that I'm going to read to you right now, are saying that Nigeria is a sovereign nation and we do not interfere with their problems.
We know
Are you part of the problem? Those of you that are watching me, are you also part of the problem tonight and you are trying to put the blame on the government? Mays Gold said, because we don't have the same identity. That is why live together since British joined us has damaged our life. Akinsuru Samuel said, Yoruba nation no going back. Good evening to you, Ola Akiyemi. Good evening to those. How many of you still want to save Nigeria? Idowu Michael said, Kò ní sú wa, kò ní rẹ̀ wá, láṣẹ Èdùmàrè. Good evening to you, Mrs. Adenike Ofi. How many of you still want to save Nigeria? I don't think I want to save Nigeria. What we should be doing now is the negotiation of the Yoruba people, the Biafra, the Middle Belt is what the government should be discussing. Which way Nigeria? Mace Gold says Sanwo-Olu killed Bamishe and the justice has not been served yet. Idowu Michael said, as a matter of fact, we have never had an election in location 9 known as Nigeria. All we do have that roll over selection, not election. Aziz Wasiu said, well done, my brother. We can never give up. Success around the corner, Yoruba Nation now. There's going to be a mega rally that is coming up very soon, but the politicians have also started their campaign today. Oluwagbenga Adelaya said, good evening to you. Femi Adeyemi, good evening to you once again to those of you that have joined us on Star Radio UK. This week, Saturday, is going to be beautiful, but on Friday, Ijebu Parapo will be having their mega rally this Friday, September 30. I'll be telling you all about that as well. Babatunde Okunawa said, currently I am planning to leave Nigeria with my family members. Well, I don't blame you. Good evening to you, Bishop Adeshina. Welcome to the program. Green for God says, British government and Fulani government 100%. Thank you so much, Bishop Adeshina says, good job, Mr. Koiki. Terry Omalade say, Ekweto. My question on the topic tonight is election 2023, Yoruba, Biafra, Middle Belt Nation. What do you think? This is Adenike. He says, good evening to you. He says, may Nigeria never happen to you. How many of you have watched that video? Let's see if we can get you the soundtrack of that video. I won't be able to show you, but if you're with me, let us hear what a father discussed about the son that was injected, only God knows with what, and the son passed out. Let's hear what he had to say.
Look at my son that I brought to hospital alive. The guy was held this morning until the nurse came, injected him 4 times. And I even tried to explain to her that this guy have not eaten. And moreover, last night that she administered that same drug to him, that the drug overreacted on him that made him throw up all that he ate yesterday. That she should hold on. Let me give my son food before they will give him that drug, so that even if he's energy, so that he will have. The nurse refused. Immediately, she gave this my son 4 full syringe. She didn't even remove her hand. My son gave up the ghost. She ran away. The doctor on duty ran away. Nobody to explain. I was trying to at least understand what happened. They abandoned my son. Everybody ran away. Nobody could explain anything to us. At the point, I went to police station. The police station here at Ogombo. This thing is happening at MCC, Ogombo Road, Lagos State. Before I could even get to the police station, they have already called the police, reported the matter to the police. The DPO have the information regarding to my son's death. Why me, as the father that was in the hospital, I don't have an information. I was still running around doctors. Who can explain to me what happened? This guy was active, nah. Just the injection, it's not as if they gave the injection and he stayed up to 5 minutes. The nurse have not even removed her hand from my son. And my son died. She just shouted, "Daddy, my heart," and that is it. Nobody. Nobody. What they were telling me is autopsy, autopsy. Autopsy, autopsy. What happened here? What go wrong? Nobody could explain to me. I need help. I need help. Whoever that can help me, I need an explanation to what they did to my son. I need explanation to what they did to my son. I need explanation to what they did to my son. Please, Nigerians, help me. Help me. Please, help me. Human rights lawyers, help me. Help me. They have already started asking me which state I'm from. Is this how Nigeria is? Is this how this state is? They said that I pay tax. They're already asking me which state am I from? Does that determine who will live and who will die? People should help me. This is the only son I have. You people should help me. You people should help me. You people should help me.
Well, you had the man crying, "You people should help me. You people should help me." This actually, we cannot show you the video, but I have the young boy lying down, I believe, in what we can call the ambulance, and he's gone already. May Nigeria never happen to you and me. Good evening to you, Ellen Peter, and the rest of you that are watching us from around the world. This is Star Radio UK, and this is how we do it every Wednesday, where we look at the situation in Nigeria, and those of us that are asking that Nigeria may not happen to you and me, but it seems Nigeria already happened to that young man, and I can only pray for the family.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Well, we broadcast 24/7, and every Wednesday I'm here, but you can also catch up with me with the rest of the team, on Monday to Friday at 11 o'clock when I give the update about what is happening in Nigeria. I want to open the phone line as well, because I want to take our take on that. And like I said, if you're thinking that maybe if you call in, you probably will not be able to speak English, it's okay. You can speak in our own local language, and I will try as much as possible, to translate that to those of our listeners that are not Yoruba, because Yoruba is a language, and we should not be scared, to talk about Yoruba on a program. Yoruba is our language. It's a language that is well known around the world, even though, the British government was able to tell us that that language is not a language and we should stop speaking in vernacular. But we have now understand that there's nothing wrong in Yoruba language. And I would then say, if you are of the opinion that you want to speak in our own local language when you call onto a program like ours, please feel free to do so. We will allow you to. I'll probably just allow those of our other listeners, to watch. I will try as much as possible to translate whatever you're saying. So I will open the phone line because I want to take as many calls as possible. And I want to get the view from the Biafra. If you're a Biafra, I want you to call in and tell me why you think that we should have a Biafra nation as against having an election in 2023. Because this is what we're going to be discussing between now and 2023. That is if there's going to be 2023, as a lot of people are saying as well. So if you're watching us on all the platforms and you want to call into the program tonight, you will only be allowed to call into a number that I'm going to be giving out, which is going to be the studio line. Please, please, please do not attempt to try and call any other number apart from the number that we are giving. It is important. There's a reason when we say call a particular number. It's because that is the number that we want you to call. We don't want you to call any other number and actually, disturb the program. So I will open the phone line, in just about a few minutes. But the question I'm asking those of us that are watching tonight is, who is a Nigerian? Because, we've had Jonathan, says that there's nobody called Nigeria. Nigeria is just, a mere geographical location. But it seems we still have a lot of Nigerians. I saw some Nigerians campaigning, for the APC, which is their right. African Confidential, a very good evening to you. Odua today, good evening to you. Safan said the British have said everything is okay in location 419. And I'll be telling you what they say. I never knew that we have what they called in Nigeria unit, in the British government. I'll be telling you all about that as well. The number to call the show tonight is +4474 044059117. If you want to speak in our local language, well, it is a beautiful language, not a local language, it's an international language called the Yoruba. If you want to speak in English, you are more than welcome to do so. Again, the number that you will call in. It is the only studio line that you have to call. Do not attempt to call any other number. We are not going to take any other number. If you try to do so, it's plus 447404405917. And those of you that are watching us on the Instagram on Olayomi Koiki, we're going to end that. You can join us on Koiki Instagram page, and then I will then see if I can start the Instagram with a different phone eventually. Thank you so much, those of you on Olayomi Koiki. We're going to start it again in just about a few minutes because I want to take as many calls. A lot of people are now saying we should go for 2023. I am not one of those people. My view is we should allow Nigeria to dissolve so that we can have a different country coming out of Nigeria. But if you also happy birthday to my brother Kendi. Today's your birthday. We celebrate you on this platform, and the rest of those of you that are celebrating their birthday. 17 minutes past 7 p.m. Thank you so much to my family that are working tirelessly behind the scene as well. They say family come first, and when I say family come first, good evening to Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. Good evening to Professor Banji Akintoye. Good evening to Professor Wale Adeniro. And good evening to all the professors that are working tirelessly behind the scene as well. And again, the number to call tonight, if you want to be part of the program, is plus 447404405917. Once again, African Confidential say, who is a Nigerian with a question mark? What is a Nigerian language? What is a Nigerian food? What is a Nigerian music? And those of our youth that are running around, for PDP, APC, it is your right to do so. But I hope you are also asking the real question that there's a country called Tuvalu. Tuvalu is a population of 12,000. They have their own identity. They have what it takes to be on their own. And they are also well respected around the world. So if you are still of that view that you want to be known as Nigeria, there's no problem in that. But my question to those of us that disagree with Nigeria is, how do we work with all this situation? Election is getting closer. We can see that already. The campaign has started today. What do you think is going to happen as 2023 is getting closer? What do you think is going to happen for those of you that are watching us? If probably maybe you want me to speak a bit of our beautiful language. What do you think is going to happen as the election is getting closer? The Yorubas are saying that we will come out and have our own country. The Biafra, I've been following some of their release in the last couple of days. They're also saying that we don't want any election in the Biafra land, which is the southeast of what they call Nigeria. All we want is we want our own independent nation. Just as all countries, the German have their own nation, the France have their own nation, the Italian have their own nation, the Australian, the Canadian, the Americans, everybody have their own nation. But yet it seems that the international community do not really want to be involved in what is the situation in Nigeria today. Adekunle Alabi say Fulani cows and Hausas are Nigerian. Okay. What is your take? 2023 election, do you think that will solve all the problem? Atiku says he's going to unite every single one of us. He's even talking about he has 3 sons that are from the southeast of Nigeria today. He's married to a Yoruba person. He's married to an Igbo person. He's also married to a Fulani woman. And he says that means that he is a true Nigerian. At least he has married to every single tribe. Tinubu is currently in London for medical checkup as usual. He could not fix an average hospital even after he left the government. Even though some say Tinubu still control Lagos State. Ismaila say, end Nigeria now and Yoruba nation now. Bolaji Rafiu say, good evening, Omo Yoruba. Good evening to you, Olanipeku, my brother, all the way in the Yoruba land. What is your real take? Good evening to you, Miss Liz Dada. I can say that you're crying. Yes, I almost cried as well when I heard the father crying that his son was injected. Only God knows with what. The son was injected, but nobody knows what. Dissolution is the only way. That is coming from, Maize Gold. It is quite a lot that is happening back in Nigeria. Are you still thinking that Nigeria is going to survive all these atrocity, all this problem? Are Aronki baby. Too sad, a wicked country. A young boy have just been killed by the nurses in Nigeria for negligence, and they've run away. Nobody's able to find where they are. Wow. Olu Babalola say good evening to you. Olayinka, good evening to you as well. And I say good evening to every single one of you that are watching us from around the world. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and this is now 22 minutes past. Even though we started a bit late, please bear with us. You know, it was just some technical problem that my team was dealing with, and we've been able to resolve that, you know, as quickly as possible. My question is, Ghazal Aliu, good evening to you. And if you're watching me from the northern part of Nigeria, what is your take about Nigeria? If you're watching me from the southeast of Nigeria, good evening to you, my big uncle, my big brother, Richard Alaba. Thank you so much. And I can assure you that your stuff is now almost some few days away to be with you. Just bear with me. I'll be communicating that with you very soon. Your stuff is just few days away. Good evening to you, Ajitoyin, my beautiful mother. I've not seen my mom tonight. I believe she's probably still doing something. We also have the police killed an innocent Yoruba man yesterday in somewhere in Okeogun. What is actually going on with these officers that just... Good evening to you, Mr. Olanrewaju Taiwo, that is watching us on Star Radio UK official Facebook page. Make sure you go and subscribe on our Twitter feed on Star Radio UK. Let me see how many of you are going to do that tonight. Last week, I did ask you to do so. Maybe only one person was able to follow us on Star Radio UK. Probably maybe you are not enjoying what is going on. Why? How do we tell those that are saying Obi is going to be the next president of Nigeria and is going to make sure that every one of us live peacefully side by side without any problem? Do you think that Omoyele Sowore will be voted for? Do you think that Kwankwaso will be the next president? Please, if you are watching us tonight, can you go to Star Radio UK Twitter and just click the follow button? Because that is the only way you're going to be able to find me every Wednesday. Some of you do not do so. I don't know why. So if you are thinking that where is Koiki? Where is Koiki? It's because you are not following me on the Star Radio UK Twitter handle. And I want you to do so tonight so that you can also have the opportunity to enjoy. And I'm going to be putting the link as well. Once again, a very good evening to every single one of you. The Hausa wants to be free. Let us get that as well. The Hausa wants to be free. But it seems that the Fulani does not want anybody to be free. The Fulani continue to kill. How many of you have listened to the Afenifere interview? The world media interview that was granted. The Afenifere still wants to support Peter Obi. What is going on in Nigeria? 24 minutes past 7 p.m. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. Ibrahim Babati. Koiki, you are original son of Yoruba. Thank you so much. Olayinka says, please, mega rally and a declaration of Yoruba nation. Good evening to you once again. Plus 4474-040-5917. Adenuga Adeleke, good evening to you. A father just lost a son in Nigeria because of the negligence of the medical life that is not there for a lot of Nigerians. And remember that it's not that we don't have the money. It's just that the selfishness of the politician not to build a standard hospital. Tinubu is currently in London receiving medical treatment while his local government is not functioning, even the healthcare. Royal Ade, the only way out of Nigeria is Yoruba nation. Good evening to you, Mr. Koiki. I say good evening to you as well. Omobolaji Abdullahi say, Mr. Koiki, good evening to you. Declaration I'm waiting for in Dubai. A lot of Nigerians are no longer respected in Dubai. The topic tonight is Election 2023 versus Yoruba, Biafra, and Middle Belt Nation. And we will continue on this pathway. Obasanjo says, and I quote, in one of the headlines, politicians will wreck Nigeria. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo today says, politicians will wreck Nigeria if religious leaders do not intervene. Obasanjo said this at his Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library penthouse in his residence in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, when the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Most Reverend Daniel Oko, paid him a courtesy visit. Interesting. Obasanjo warned that if politicians with no fear of God are allowed to have their way, the entire country will regret it, as 2023 elections may either make or mar Nigeria. Did you hear what he says? Obasanjo says, and I quote, 2023 elections may make Nigeria or mar Nigeria. He therefore appealed to religious leaders in the country to stop bad politicians from destroying the country. How? He's not be able to tell us that. Obasanjo is telling the leader of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Most Reverend Daniel Okor, that paid him a visit in his penthouse in Abeokuta in his presidential library, that if you do not do anything, the politician will destroy Nigeria. I'm asking the question, have the politician not destroyed Nigeria more than enough? I'm going to give us the breaking now for the for what I called the inflation in Nigeria today, according to what I have. Nigeria is at the verge of breakup. United Kingdom is going through a lot of crises. Countries with troubled currency are experiencing decline in the sound money category. What is going on in the world today? How is all this playing out in you, those of you that are watching? Once again, a very good evening to those of you that are watching us. There's crisis all over the world. But like I said, Nigeria, according to Steve Ang, when President Muhammadu Buhari first came into office, he promised to deliver economic growth in Nigeria. In this week's inflation table, Nigeria has taken number 18 position according to the measure of inflation, pushing inflation to 35%. So much for sleepy Buhari promises. The APC promised everything. According to Ms. Gose, all those Afenifere are selfish. Good evening to you, Miss Grace Olushoto, and welcome all the way from Dublin. Samuel Olagunju says, no more Nigeria again. Omobolaji Abdullah says, good evening to you once again from Dubai. Buhari promised on the economy, security. Thank you for those of you that are giving us the star, the loves, keep sharing if you want to. Because a lot of people expect me to say, share the program. That is something that you should do without telling you so. Some of you want us to say, like the program. We shouldn't be telling you that. That should be something you should do because we are here to give you exactly what most media back in Nigeria are not going to tell you anyway. Good evening to you, Adebayo Jelly. Why do the police kill innocent people in Nigeria? A Yoruba man was killed in Okeogun yesterday. And I'm asking the question, why do we have to go through these by the same system that is meant to protect Nigerians? For how long must Nigeria continue to live in denial that we are not one? Akeredolu is saying that he's going to buy AK-47 or AK-46 to Amotekun. But the presidency is saying if he dare does that. Have you listened to that headline? Let me see if I can bring that headline to those of you that are watching us. Akeredolu, for those of you that are not aware, is the governor of Ondo State. He spoke last week about the injustice happening in a particular state as against another state. Akeredolu and the federal government, AK-46. Do you think that Akeredolu will now have to back down? Akeredolu is the governor of Ondo State. And the presidency is telling him, if you dare buy AK-46 for Amotekun, you will be in a big problem. Automatic weapon. The presidency have now responded back to, I'll take that again. Automatic weapon. Akeredolu reply presidency says Amotekun can't fight armed criminals with bare hands. But the presidency is saying, if you dare buy AK-46, the governor says restricting the state security outfit from bearing arms betray the current reality across the country. And the question is, are we still one Nigeria? Akeredolu is not allowed to buy weapons to defend the state. Olajire Koka says, it is obvious Nigeria is not only a failed country, but collapsed one. Then a question is, what are we going to do about it? With a question mark. Adeni Yolawale says, Yoruba nation now. Akeredolu is challenging the federal government. Governor Akeredolu of Ondo State has frowned at the statement by the presidency in his response to promise to arm Amotekun corps in the state. Mr. Akeredolu, a lawyer, has been a constant advocate for an approval for state security outfit to bear arms. He recently accused the federal government of double standard, having approved the bearing of automatic weapons for Katsina State while denying Amotekun and others the same privilege. He vowed to arm Amotekun with AK-47s to ensure adequate security for the state in light of the new dimension. Remember that it was Owo, St. Francis. How many of you remember that? I'm sure a lot of you have probably forgotten about it. St. Francis was attacked in Owo, in Ondo State. And that happened just around 3 months ago. Innocent Christians were killed, massacred by the Fulani terrorists. How many of you remember that? But it seems that everybody have just moved on as if nothing has happened. Do we continue in these, or how do we? What is going on in Nigeria? 3 months after, Ondo government have also now donated some few things to those victims of Owo. Right here, I've got the corpses during the burial of these innocent people. The Ondo State government has made financial donation to survivors of the terrorist attack on St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo. The gesture occurred after 3 months that almost 100 people were killed by the Fulani terrorists. And my question is, why is Katsina State allowed to buy AK-47 to their own security outfit, but yet Amotekun will not be allowed to do the same thing? How many of you are aware that one of the Nigerian man died, commit suicide? Why are people committing suicide? The founder of Buka Eatery. How many of you know Buka Eatery? Buka Eatery, or Buka Hut as is known in Nigeria, is an eatery joint, but the owner actually commits suicide. Buka Hut co-founder commits suicide yesterday at about 3 a.m. according to the information that we have. The businessman died yesterday after committing suicide. According to Rashid Jayola, Buka Hut managing director and the CEO, in a statement by Twitter, confirmed the news. With heavy heart, we regret to announce the demise of one of our directors and the co-founders, or the co-owner rather, Mr. Olaolu Martins, who was until his death a key contributor, a strong pillar to our business from inception to date. He says, our thoughts and prayers are with his family and loved ones. May their soul rest in perfect peace. Why do people commit suicide? I was telling you that last week, somebody said there's Buka here in Brooklyn, New York. Is that the same people that owns that, or is that something else? Thank you so much, African Confidential. Ellen Peter says, with the present situation and the way the ISWAP has announced they are present, I don't think the governor have to seek permission of the presidency to buy guns to protect his people. Mrs. Gray says, Nigerian government can't buy AK-47, but the terrorists and the unknown government can have as many AK-47 and AK-49 to themselves in this not madness. What is really happening with location 419 known as Nigeria? If you're watching me for the very first time, Femi Adeyemi says Yoruba and Biafra only need collective effort to reclaim their real identity. I can't just wait for Yoruba nation. That's coming from Femi Adeyemi. Let me read some of the comment that is coming from Instagram so that we are not leaving you behind. Arowolo, for real, Koiki, you are doing a great work. Thank you so much. And likewise, Tommy Well says, not only Nigeria, most of all nations have a terrible problem. You're quite right. There's no denying that. UK is going through a lot of crises as well. And I can tell you quickly some of the crises that UK is going to be facing in terms of money-wise. You know, the economy is becoming very tighter and more people are complaining. Electricity bill is gone up. According to Nicola Surgeon, UK in a grip of rapid deteriorating economic crisis. Emergency intervention by the Bank of England to reduce damage of UK government-owned policy extraordinary. Commons should be immediately recalled. Where even is the Prime Minister, Liz Truss? What an interesting time. President Muhammadu Buhari is still in New York. He's not back. I believe he's back. He should be back now. He was meant to be back on Monday. I hope he's back. UK is going through a lot as we speak right now. What is going on around the world? Crisis there, crisis there, crisis there. I don't want to say Nigeria is a scam. We should not deceive ourselves. For God's sake, Nigeria is not a nation, it's a mere geographical expression. And I totally agree with you. 48 hours before the exploration of the letter that the YSDM, the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, wrote to President Muhammadu Buhari, that letter expired on the 30th of this month, Friday precisely. What do you think is going to happen? Let me take a sip of water. Thank you so much to my producer, Mr. Frank David, Mr. Archie. Good evening to you, Mrs. Kemi Bello. Jimmy Koya said, my brother, we are waiting for declaration for Yoruba Nation. What an interesting time that we are living in this world. Once again, to those that are going through a lot of pain, please do not commit suicide. Last week or a week ago, we were telling you about our brother, a DJ in Liverpool that committed suicide. Suicide is not the best option. If you are depressed, please speak to somebody and do not leave that to yourself. And if you are sure that somebody is going through something, please do not let us neglect them. We are just about almost some 20 or thereabout minutes before we get to 8 p.m. and we are still live on Star Radio UK, where we are discussing all the issues affecting Nigerians at home and those that are saying, no, we are not Nigerians, we are the indigenous people. How do we identify the indigenous people? Happy OJ said, please, we are waiting for the mega rally. Otumba OLAMILEKAN. Otumba is not a pet name. It's some name that are given to those that are worthy within the Yoruba community. You said, and I call Yoruba Nation now. Oluwaremileko Princess Adelaye, good evening to you. He says, the wicked politicians have already destroyed Nigeria. But Obasanjo is now pleading with the Christian Association of Nigeria that they should do something before it is too late. What do you think that the Christian Association of Nigeria can do? I'm asking the question. Once again, to the family of the founder and the co-owner of Buka Hut Eatery, we say on behalf of Star Radio UK, may so rest in perfect peace. Again, if you are not aware that this week, Friday, the family of the Owolabi would also be doing a waykeeping. If you are in America and you would like to attend that event, please do so, because they will need every single one of us to be part of that as well. Once again, we pray for the family. It's a very difficult one, that the family have to go through after the terrorists that killed their loved one in Nigeria, and also Rachel, Badele was killed. And like I said, I am in contact with the family in America. The body has been returned back to America, and that is something that the American government have also been a bit involved. So that is right there in front of you. All this is going to be happening this Friday, when the body will be going through what we call the waykeeping on Friday the 30th. Your life was a blessing, your memory a treasury. You are loved beyond words and missed beyond measure. Oluwagbenga David Owolabi was born on the 10th of March 1967 and is going to be up to August 2nd, 2022. Waykeeping Friday, September 30th, 2022, 6 p.m. The funeral will then take place on Saturday, October 1st, 2022, 11 a.m. It was actually killed in July. It was kidnapped, sorry. It was kidnapped on the 28th of July, but it was killed on August the 2nd. So, it was kidnapped the same day he returned back to Nigeria, where he has his business and hotel business, that he has been operating. He employed also a young graduate that was going to finish up in one of the polytechnic or technical school in your state. We have a governor, Seyi Makinde. They are not bothered. They are more concerned. Just as Seyi Makinde knew when Chief Sunday Igboho's house was attacked. And you just ask yourself, do we really have politicians, or do we have those that care less about the citizen? So he was kidnapped. They couldn't rescue him. The federal government could not rescue him. The DSS could not rescue him. None of the security operatives can rescue him. And they allowed a Fulani terrorist to eventually kill a Yoruba man that was eventually killed on the 2nd of August. His waykeeping is going to happen in America on Friday, September the 30th at about 6 p.m. We will be giving a live transmission of that on our platform, so make sure you tune in as well. He would then be buried the following day as well. We will be getting signal from that burial ground where we'll be doing that as well. Let us pray for everyone that have been killed by this government for not doing enough to protect the economy, to protect the security, to give education to so many people back in Nigeria. Both ceremonies will be held at the Trinity Life Church, 2122W Joppa Road, Timonion, MD 21093. On behalf of Star Radio UK, we say, may the soul rest in peace. Good evening to you, Mr. Sunday Afolabi. You say Yoruba Nation now. Alaji Aramu. Good evening to you, Lanre. I say God bless you, as you also say God bless me as well. Good evening to you, Mrs. Comfort. You say Buhari, you better come to the table with Yoruba and other indigenous groups to peacefully divide Nigeria now. Nigeria has gone to the land of no return. And the question again is, as Nigeria continue to happen to so many Nigerians, I think it was 2 days ago, 18 people were burnt on the Third Mainland Bridge as well in Lagos. What a very painful one as well. On Friday, Ijebu Parapo will be having their mega rally. Please make sure you participate as well. For those of you that are continue to campaign for the the peaceful rally that is going on in the southwest of what we call Nigeria today. This is still Star Radio UK, and it is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. As we continue to say which constitution that they want to vote on, because we believe and we know that the constitution that we have presently is a fraudulent constitution that was put together by Abdul Salam Abubakar and then also being used forcefully on so many Nigerians. We can't continue like this, but some say we can still fix Nigeria. Are you of the same view that we can fix Nigeria? How many of you still believe that we can fix Nigeria? And if you think so that we can fix Nigeria, can you just raise your hand and say we can fix Nigeria? Also, like I said, I'm going to read that letter that I have with me, and the content of that letter was sent to one of our brother, and he actually shared that with me, and I'm going to read that out for the benefit of our listeners on Niger Voices this evening. 15 minutes before 8 p.m. the program ended at exactly 8:30. Keep your comment coming. Sonky, Nigeria already reached its peak. Maze Go said we need to do the needful before they kill us finish. Rukaya Tomawumi, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Also, Sanjo Beauty Air, Yoruba National. To all our hairdresser, the barber salon in London, in America, all over the world, in Yoruba land, in Nigeria, all across the world, whatever you're doing, we appreciate every single one of you. Good evening to you, Mrs. Yogi, and the rest of the different groups across the network that are campaigning tirelessly for the Yoruba nation. The letter to Buhari will expire on Friday. What are we expecting? Election is coming. The campaign are kick off. I was watching what is happening in Abuja, by the Atiku team. Tinubu is in London. They are, the APC have not given us a clear of what they're going to be doing. I believe that Peter Obi was in Jos for the campaign. We are now going to see a lot of campaign trail moving from one state to the other. Is that going to solve the problem that is being faced presently in Nigeria, or are we all just going to say it is okay? 2023 will solve all our problems. Do you think so? Mrs. Janet Martin, good evening to you. You say Nigeria is dead. Nigeria is dead already. You can't wake up what is dead. Kazim Lukman, good evening to you as well. Good evening to those of you that have joined us. Olujobi, Olagunju John, Alara Bia, Omomi, good evening to you. Ajadi Omokayo, good evening to you as well. To every single one of you that have joined us, good evening. Let me now read the letter, and I want you to take your pen and paper, and you might find some interesting point that the British government from the Whitehall Nigerian unit, King Charles Street, London, SW1A 2 Alpha Hotel, wrote on the 27th of September to one of our comrades during his own correspondence to the British government. Thank you for your email. And you can also send an email as well. If you want to do so, the email is fcdo.correspondent@fcdo.gov.uk. You can ask the question why Nigeria should be a country, why Nigeria should not be, what is the British view on that. But this is the British view, the British government based on the Whitehall Nigerian unit. I've never heard about them before, but I'm hearing about them for the first time. You are still watching Star Radio UK, Niger Voices every Wednesday. I've been running this program for the last 5 years. We discuss issues affecting Nigerians as at that time, and also diaspora that are living outside. But right now, as the campaign for the self-determination has been going on for the last 3 years, we appreciate those that have been doing it for the last 30 years. But have you listened to the Afenifere? Afenifere still wants to restructure Nigeria, and they are also backing Peter Obi for the presidency that is being conducted in 2023. That is if there's going to be one. Let's go into that conversation. Thank you for your email of the 25th of August about the UK-Nigeria bilateral relation. Your correspondent has been passed to the Nigerian unit in Whitehall. The UK government acknowledged that Nigeria and the United Kingdom share a long and complex history, including the period of colonial rule that ended in 1960. Today, our close relation is underpinned by our Commonwealth membership and our co-correspondent. Many Nigerians have chosen to make the UK their home, and these people-to-people ties are also an important aspect of our relationship with Nigeria. Nigeria is a trusted partner of the United Kingdom, but we do not share the view set out in your correspondence that the United Kingdom seeks to interfere with Nigeria's political affairs. Nigeria is an independent sovereign nation, and the UK government respects this. Additionally, the question of who Nigerians elect as their next president is a matter for the people of Nigeria, and the UK government remains neutral and impartial on this matter. We also do not share your view that the United Kingdom has engineered instability in Nigeria for political gain. As Africa's largest economy and democracy, the United Kingdom government wants to see a stable, secure, and prosperous Nigeria that delivers jobs and opportunity for all Nigerians. Recent successful bilateral initiatives, including our security and defense partnership and economic development forum, have affirmed our commitment to supporting Nigeria as it deals with a number of economic and security challenges that stop the country reaching its full potential. This work not only responds to the needs of Nigerian people, but it supports the UK interest by building the prosperity, security, resilience of an important partner. We share your concern about the deteriorating security situation across Nigeria, which is having a devastating impact on local communities, including Christian community. The United Kingdom government is committed to helping Nigeria as it tackles this insecurity. As part of our security and defense partnership, we commit more support to help Nigeria tackle its security challenges, including police reform, tackling serious and organized crime, terrorism in the Northeast. We provide stabilization and humanitarian assistance to support communities affected by terrorism. And in the Middle Belt, we support local and national peace-building initiatives to tackle intercommunal violence. The United Kingdom has also provided £425 million in humanitarian aid to the Northeast Nigeria over the last 5 years, which has reached around 1.5 million vulnerable people. Thank you for writing. I hope you find this response useful. Catherine McGaw, Whitehall, Nigeria Unit, Foreign Commonwealth. So what I want my listener to do tonight is to you also to send an email to them. And if you get a reply, please share that with me. So I'm going to give you the email address, and I want you to please help us to type that for those of you that are listening to us right now on all our platforms. The email to send to Foreign Commonwealth and Development is fcdo.correspondent, and I hope correspondence, not dent, correspondence, and that also at fcdo.gov.uk. Again, I want every single one of us that is watching this program that is concerned about what is happening in Nigeria, whatever your take, whatever and how you want to put that, I want us to send an email today to this Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, titled Whitehall Nigeria Unit, which is also their full address. Once again, is fcdo.correspondence@fcdo.gov.uk. That is the email address should you want to send an email to that correspondent. And if you of those that love to write letter, because some of us like to write letters because that is what we do very well, you can send to the address Whitehall Nigerian Unit, and that is King Charles Street, and that is London. Once again, a very good evening to those of you that have joined us. London, SW1A2 Alpha Hotel. Once again, you can send a letter, with whatever you think, you can question, the 1914 amalgamation. You can question. Yeah, I'm going to be putting that on all the platforms. We've done so already on one of our platforms. Again, the email address is very easy. You don't have to go out of your house. This email was sent by our brother on the 25th of August, and he has got a reply yesterday, the 27th of September. He shared that with me, and that is exactly what I'm reading out to you. So you don't have to do anything. If you're even outside Nigeria or outside UK, you can send an email as well. Again, the email address is fcdo.correspondence at fcdo.gov.uk. Let us all write letter or email as quickly as possible to the Whitehall Nigeria Unit. I believe this unit has been created so that we can ask questions as Nigerians, or those of us that are also concerned about the situation in Nigeria. Once again, I want as many of us to send that email, and then if you get any reply, please make sure you can copy somebody like us, and we will be able to discuss that as well, for the benefit of all our other listeners as well. Just as you have enjoyed this. Again, I'm going to be putting that out. It's very, very easy. You don't have to leave your house. You can do that email right now, and then probably you will wait for, I don't know how many days, 14 days, but you will get a reply. You can question the amalgamation. You can question why the British government, added us together. And then, if you're of that view that we want an election, you can also question that as well. Once again, the email address is fcdo.correspondence@fcdo.gov.uk, or you can write an official letter if you're in UK. If you're in America, you can send a letter as well by DHL, and you'll also get a reply, I'm sure, if you include your details. This is the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, and they have what they call Whitehall Nigeria Unit. And I want all those of you that are watching us tonight to send an email. We're also going to be putting all this information out for the benefit of every single one of us to please do that, because we are concerned. We don't want civil war in Nigeria. We've seen that the Fulani wants to take what they call a civil war, to destroy, the indigenous people. They are encroaching the land. Yes, we know that from the letter we've read, the British government said they do not interfere, with the situation in Nigeria, but they can also do something. Arowolo says Nigeria is an artificial country built in a faulty foundation without proper structure. Nothing is working, and I totally agree with you. Also, I'm going to be putting that quickly on our Instagram page for the benefit of those of you that are watching us tonight. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and we are still about 35 minutes away before the end of this program. Please and please do send an email. I mean, every single one of us know how to send an email. So I want every single one of us watching tonight, share that to as many people. Let us write them email asking the question that is burning your heart. I know the one that is burning my heart. It might be different from yours. Let us all send an email. Sorry, it's FCDO. I think I've written FIDO. Sorry about that. I think it's not FIDO. It is actually we're gonna remove that so that we do not get a mix-up. It's actually FCDO. So I think it's just so I'm gonna put that again. It's FCDO and I'm going to be updating that as well on the Facebook as well. Again, FCDO dot. Remember to put the dot, and then after the dot, then you then also put correspondent at fcdo.gov.uk, and that will be the email that the unit will receive. And when they receive that, it will then, you will get a reply. You can then put whatever you think you want in there. Sorry, again, I've actually just removed it on the YouTube. It's coming back again. Sorry, it's just quite a lot of work that we're doing behind the scene. Once again, if you're concerned about the situation in Nigeria as a Biafra, as just an ordinary Nigeria, you are concerned. Once again, I'm going to remove the ones that we've actually pinned earlier on because that is a wrong one. Let's remove that as well so that we do not confuse all our listeners with that email, because that actually is not the right one. So I'm going to delete that and I'm going to put the right one again. So let us send an email. Email doesn't cost you anything. It is free. You don't need to ask me the template of a letter. You can write whatever you feel. Nigeria is going through a turbulent time, and we don't want civil war in Nigeria, and we expect the British government, to do something quickly, because the British government actually, amalgamate Nigeria, and it is also their duty to de-amalgamate Nigeria, because Nigeria is going through a turbulent time, and we do not want civil war in Nigeria. We don't want civil war in the Yoruba land. So every single one of us should please send that email as quickly as possible. If possible, I want you to do that today, so that you will be able to know that in the next 14 days, you will get a reply. They will definitely reply you, and you can put whatever your concern as a citizen of the country that was put together by the British government. I want us to do that as quickly as possible. Like I said, all this information will also be sent out to all other platforms. If you come across this, tell somebody the reason why we are saying that we should send an email or we should send a letter, to the British government. The British government created what we called Nigeria in 1914, and we need to ask the question now that we are concerned citizens. While we're going to be continuing the program tonight, it's now almost 1 minute before 8 p.m. Local time. We must ask question. Why were we put together? If to value, and I'm going to give you a breakdown. In 1978, the British government allowed a referendum to take place in what we called Tuvalu, and today Tuvalu have their own government. Tuvalu have their own system of operation. Tuvalu have their own government, as I said earlier, and they have their own operation. For those of you that are on Instagram, please go on our timeline and you'll be able to copy everything. Divine Grace, we need to find out what is the difficult issue between them and Nigeria. So let us, you can write that to the Commonwealth as you have it there. You already have the email address. Let us not hesitate not to do so, because if we don't do that, we are not helping. We can sit on the social media and say we want Yoruba nation, we want Biafra nation, or you want an election, whichever one you take, because everybody has different takes on what we actually want. But my take as an individual is that Nigeria should be allowed to be de-amalgamated, and we want as many of you to also send what we call email to the Commonwealth, so that we can ask the question, why do we have what we have at the moment? Again, it is called the Foreign Commonwealth Office. Remember, there's been a lot of protest, in that particular building that, has happened by the Biafra, the Yoruba people as well. But what we want to ask the Foreign Commonwealth now is, we want to know, if it's still possible to de-amalgamate Nigeria before it goes into flames, because the Fulanis are saying that they're going to wipe off every one of us, and we don't want anybody to wipe us off on the surface of this earth. We want to remain in this earth as an ethnic group, and we don't have to be scared as an ethnic group going back to our land. So I want us to all do this email today. please send that email and let me have an update as soon as you have a reply back, from this unit. It is actually again called the Whitehall. It's actually called Whitehall Nigeria Unit, and it's King Charles Street, London, SW 182A hotel. So let us write to them and we can all start asking the question. So please let us do so. If you are a concerned Yoruba person, if you are a concerned Nigeria, if you are a concerned Hausa, you are a concerned Middle Belt, concerned Biafra, I want us to send that email to that address that we've just given out, so that we can all be able to tell the British government that what they created in 1914 have now become a monster that is actually having a big impact on us. Once again, it is still Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, as we continue to push, for the self-determination of the Yoruba people out of the contraction known as Nigeria. The 1999 Constitution has been forced on every single one of us. It is not working. It is not favorable to any Nigerian today. That Constitution has been used, to pin down, the average Nigerian today. And that is why we are saying that we can't continue in that direction again. That direction is not working. That direction is being a failure since the British government created that. Which way, Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Do you still love Nigeria? Do you still love Nigeria as, do you still love Nigeria? As I say, it is still Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and I'm getting the next track ready, where we're going to be discussing the next track that I have coming up at the moment. The engineers are just working on that. I'd like to appreciate every single one of you, your comment that is coming through. I'll be reading more of those comments as well, and I'll be giving more analysis, to the situation as we have it as well. Nigerians are saying we can fix Nigeria, with our PVC. Even the British government is saying that, they do not interfere, with the situation in Nigeria. Good evening to you, Mrs. Elizabeth Adesoya. Good evening to you, Becky. Again, good evening to you, my brother Shalom. Good evening and welcome. Odua today, good evening to you as well. And good evening to each and every single one of us that have joined the conversation. And now, I want to talk about a bit of what Obasanjo says. Obasanjo is asking the Christian Association of Nigeria that they should do something, so that Nigeria does not be make or mar. He is now appealing to religious leaders in the country to stop bad politicians. How do we stop bad politicians? This is what Obasanjo is saying. How do we stop a bad politician? And how do we recognize even a bad politician? How do we recognize a bad politician, and how do we recognize a politician? Do you think that the religious leader can fix that problem? Are you of the view that the religious leader will fix the problem? Once again, to those that are doing the Yoruba Nation Interfaith, we pray that our prayers will be answered very soon in a peaceful way. We don't want bloodshed. We want to leave Nigeria. We don't want to be part of Nigeria. Nigeria is not working for the indigenous people. We are the indigenous people. We have the right, to self-determination, and we must now ask the British government to de-amalgamate what they actually amalgamate. So let us continue, to demand for that. But those that are saying that we should go for 2023, I mean, it is their right to say so. We cannot deny their right. But the problem is, on what constitution Will that happen? I mean, are we still going to be using the same 1999 fraudulent constitution? Good evening to you, Ajayolu Asheson, and welcome once again, to Niger Voices on Star Radio UK. This program has been going on for the last 5 years, every Wednesday, where we discuss issues affecting Nigerians, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. So my question to those that are asking that we should go and do election 2023, on what constitution do we still have unity in Nigeria today? Are we still united as people, or are we living in denial? I'm asking the question, and I want to raise some of your comments again. Are we still united as people, or are we living in denial? Odua today, good evening to you, and again, good evening to you, Miss Liz Dada, and those of you. Kike Lomo says good evening to you once again as well. Miss Liz Dada says, wake up people, break the animal kingdom. Everyone should go their separate ways. Yoruba nation now, not going back. Biafra nation now. Nnamdi Kanu is still being held by the DSS. His health is becoming, very concerned to his people. And as we say all the time, we can't neglect the situation. A Yoruba person was killed by the police in Lagos. I mean, in the southwest of Okeogun, Oyo State yesterday, and it's just painful what we have to go through, every time with the Nigerian security. Once again, we want as many of you, to please, pick up that, message, send that email out, to somebody that it can actually save lives. Let us send the email. Let us tell the British government that as concerned citizens, as indigenous people, we are worried of what might happen in 2023, and we want a quick intervention of the British government as quickly as possible. We should not be shy from writing that email. We should do so quickly, and we can be able to save lives as well. If we all keep quiet and just stick to the social media, Sholilogui, good evening to you, my brother. You are not helping the situation. You are actually going to put the situation to be worse. But if we all write emails, this is just another opportunity to engage the British government by sending an email, and demanding that they intervene in what they actually put together in 1914, and that is going to help us a lot. But if you are not going to do so, that literally means that you are not helping the situation. We are concerned people. A lot of Nigerians are being killed. A lot of Nigerians are facing so much, security challenges. We cannot travel around the country. The economy is worst, ever. It's been one of the worst situations that we've ever come across in the history of what we call Nigeria. We cannot keep quiet. We must now speak out and do something as well. And the only thing we can all do is to also make sure that we are not just keeping quiet. Keeping quiet right now is not the best option. We need to speak out. We are not the generation of the previous that have kept muted. We need to ask the British government that have, amalgamated Nigeria, why we need to keep Nigeria, after 62 years. Again, if we do nothing, say nothing, then there will be more problem, in the near future. As we are just about 20 minutes away before I will be ending this program, Wasiu Akinyele says, the only unity we have is among the politicians for their selfish interests, not the indigenous people of Nigeria. Sunday Afolabi says, Nigeria is more divided than ever before. The only solution is for us to go our different ways. So on Yoruba Nation, we stand. Becky, mega rally and declaration. Sunday, Obasanjo himself sell Yoruba people to Hausa, but Obasanjo is actually saying to the Christian Association of Nigeria that we should, they should do something to avoid bad politicians. And I'm asking the question, how are they going to do so? How are they going to do so? I want us to listen to this. Almost some billions of naira was budgeted for something. Let us listen to this together.
Express displeasure with the Registrar of the National Board for Arabic and Islamic Studies.
Okay, you heard that very well. Arabic and Islamic study has been some money that the government have been budgeting for in the tone of billions of naira. Let's listen again.
The non-remittance of over 300 million naira revenue generated to the Consolidated Revenue Fund.
Who are able to feed 30 million out of this 40 to conduct an exams in a year. They are saying they have spent 380 something million.
Okay, you heard that. To conduct an exam, they've spent 380 million. Just one exam. And that exam is Arabic and Islamic study in Nigeria.
And we are here to collect another budget from the federal government. I've contributed just 35 million.
Well, they've only contributed 35 million. Once again, these are part of what is going on in Nigeria that a lot of Nigerians do not even understand. The government continues to budget billions of naira for Arabic and Islamic study, and they are not contributing anything apart from about 35 million.
And if they ask what their budget there, they'll be telling me in the region of 10 to 20 billion naira.
Okay, you heard that very well. The budget for this program is about almost 10 to 20 billion naira. And the question is, who benefit from Nigeria? Can the Christian Association of Nigeria, according to the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, says, and I quote, Obasanjo warned that if politician, because Obasanjo is telling us, I mean, he's not telling me, he's actually telling the Christian Association of Nigeria that paid him a visit, the Most Reverend Daniel Oko, that if the religious leaders, whether the Christian, the Muslim, our traditionalists, do not stop the politician, they will actually destroy Nigeria. And I'm asking the question, have Nigeria not been destroyed up to now? What is your take on that? Taiwo Samuel, I stopped applying and anything in Nigeria because my country, Yoruba nation, has arrived. Good evening to you, Sunday Fagbami. God bless you, White Lion, you say. Good evening to you, Daniel Agunbiade. Welcome to those of you that are watching us on all the different platforms. Whether you're watching on Star Radio UK or you're just watching on all the remaining platforms as well, I say good evening. How do we stop that? Olayinka Omolola say, Koiki, now we don't need talk again. This time for action. Let Baba Banji declare Yoruba nation. This is the right time before it is too late. Thank you so much. Sunday Afolabi say, insecurity, poverty, unemployment is the order of the day. Obasanjo, I think I have a comment here. I can't say the, okay. Well, I am _DJ_T. God bless United Yoruba Nation. Thank you so much for joining us as well. Those of you that are watching us from all the platforms. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. This is Star Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. On Friday, it is all going to be happening right inside Ijebu, where the mega rally is coming up. But let us go back again. I'm going to have to rewind the video. Almost billions of naira is allocated for Islamic exam in Nigeria. Wow, interesting.
The lawmakers expressed displeasure with the Registrar of the National Board for Arabic and Islamic Studies, Mohammed Abdullahi, for the non-remittance of over 300 million naira revenue generated to the Consolidated Revenue Fund.
Who are able to feed 30 million out of this 40 to conduct an exams in a year. They are saying they have spent 380 something million, and we are here to collect another budget from the federal government. I've contributed just 35 million, and if they ask what their budget there, they'll be telling me in the region of 10 to 20 billion naira. 5,963 members of staff arranging for one examination in a year and being paid 8.5 billion and now generating only 410, out of which you remit only 35 million. There is a need to look deeper into what this is about.
The committee resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate activities of the
Well, that is part of what is going on in Nigeria today. I mean, money is just allocated and nobody knows what is happening with this money. and eventually life goes on. Again, we lost a Yoruba man, to the gunshot from the police officer in somewhere around Okeogun yesterday. The comrade eventually died. And my question now is, for how long do we continue to allow the security, to kill innocent Nigerians back home? We are just 30 minutes before the end of program tonight, 28th of September 2022. And my name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and you've been listening to Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Looking at the current situation in Nigeria, do you think that there will be election next year? How many people think that there will be election next year? Looking at the current tension that we have in the southeast yesterday, there was the unknown gunman that we know is the government that is doing the unknown government, Boko Haram, and all different terrorist organizations operating with impunity inside the northeast of Nigeria today. And my question is, do we still have a government at all? Do we still presently have a government in place? Is the question I'm asking those of you that are listening to me tonight. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and you have been listening to Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Nigerians that continue to say that we will solve all the problems when we have a new government in place. I'm not too sure which government. Are they going to bring back the APC that destroyed the security, the economy, the education? Or are they going to bring back the PDP that actually stayed there for 16 years and collapsed the whole system? The national grill is not working. Wasiu Akinyele says, I was told to pay 64,000 a single meter, which will not give energy due to power grid collapse. What a waste of money. Babatunde Omoni says no. Mrs. Rukaya says, since dies or alive is our president, so Nigeria is not working. 10 minutes before I hand over back to the studio, my name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. I'm asking the question. Oluwa Tola Adebanjo said no election. Nigerians have started their campaign for 2023. I've seen some of those that are dancing around, they're excited. It's time to make money. It's time to get the 500 naira, the 2,000 naira. It's time to get a t-shirt and a face card. Is that all? Is that all that will survive you for the next 4 years or 8 years of this government that you probably think is going to work and fix the problem? Why was APC not able to fix all the problem? Rather, APC government allowed the influx of terrorists into the Nigerian system today. All our territory is no longer safe. Bamidele Bob says, well done, White Lion. You are really doing a great job for us in Yoruba Nation that we are soon going to go into. No election in Yoruba Nation. The Middle Belt are saying that they are having problem with terrorism in their part of their community. The Southeast is no longer safe in the hands of the federal government, creating genocide and killing as many innocent Igbo. The Southwest is no longer safe. We cannot go back to our farms. You are being kidnapped and ransom are being paid in a large amount of money. My question is, can Nigeria really survive 2023? How many of you of the view that Nigeria will survive 2023? Olatayo said, break up Nigeria now. Having followed the government of the APC for the last 7 years, what is your pass mark for the APC government? If I ask you before we start going, remember to also send your email. Adams Oshiomole says, I don't know if Tinubu is in Nigeria. Tinubu is currently in London on medical treatment, so don't tell us lies. Hey. Adams Oshiomole. Somebody will say Adam Oshiomo. Oh, I'm going to let the other part be on my mind. Simon Ekpa says, they say we don't have what it takes to restore Biafra by 2023. I look at them and I laugh. We told them that soon we would declare no-fly zone over Biafra. They laugh at us. The liberation of the Biafra from Nigeria is a fight for survival, a fight that every Biafran must be ready. Ifafunshaw says, and I quote on Twitter, I'm just taking some of the tweets, you cannot say you are educated when you are not yet free. You cannot say you are educated when your national language isn't your indigenous language. You cannot say you are educated when you are not in charge of your land. Education isn't about certificate, but freedom. Are we free? What a very good one there. I'm going to read that again one more time. This is Ifafunshaw on Twitter. And he says, and I quote, you cannot say you are educated when you are not yet free. You cannot say you are educated when your national language isn't your indigenous language. You cannot say you are educated when you are not in charge of your land. Education isn't about certificate, but freedom. Are we free? I'm asking the question to those of you that are listening tonight. Are we free? Are we free? Is the question. Let's look at what African Confidential wrote on his Twitter handle some few hours ago. African Confidential on Twitter. The only reason you are against the disintegration of Nigeria is because you don't understand it. You are just scared of the unknown. The only people who benefit from one Nigeria are your politicians, Britain, China, US, and other foreign investors in the British business center called Nigeria. Do you agree with that as well? What's some very powerful quotes that is coming out? Alaji Lukman, I say good evening to you and welcome to Star Radio UK. I am just 6 minutes before I hand over back to the studio. I'm still waiting for the pass mark. What will be the pass mark for Nigeria in terms of this government? The APC government is winding down. What is your pass mark for the APC government? Again, I read and I quote according to what African Confidential wrote. The only reason you are against the disintegration of Nigeria is because you don't understand it. Is it that a lot of Nigerians do not understand? Once again, it says, and I quote, you are just scared of the unknown. The only people who benefit from one Nigeria are your politicians, Britain, China, US, and other foreign investors, the British business center called Nigeria. Who is actually scared of the breakup of Nigeria? Somebody says 0 to 100. Pass mark is D. Somebody said 10. Nigeria is not working. Nobody, I mean nobody can fix it. Fatima Bankole, thank you so much. Benjamin Raji said, we must take our nation and not to be asking for what belongs to us. The Yorubas who are dragging their feet will soon become the Fulani slaves forever. African Confidential says, and I quote, everyone should be following that lady Ifafunshaw. I do follow her. I'm going to be reading more comments before I go. And likewise, I'll be taking some of your tweets. Nigeria is dead already. And the zoological Nigeria must go down by all means. Kenny Adelani. Olaiton Latayo say, break up Nigeria now. How many of you still want us to go for election come 2023? Not me. Once again, this is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's sorry for those of you that joined us at the beginning. We had some technical issue with our sound, and the engineer were able to rectify that. As I'm winding down, let me remind you that may Nigeria never happen to you and me. Should Nigeria happen to you, you will understand what is Nigeria. A father is now crying because the son was injected with something we don't know. The son only said, Dad, my heart, and is gone before anything, and the doctor and the nurses run away. Imagine that you have to look for the doctor and the nurse that gives injection to your loved ones after he died. May Nigeria not happen to you and me. As I'm going to be winding down tonight, I'll be leaving you to say that the responsibility of having a self-determination is for us to remain focused in the mix of whatever is happening out there. We will always have those that want to destabilize what we have in our hands. We must not take our eyes from the real conversation. And that conversation is, we have the right as the indigenous people, according to what I have here that says, Declaration on the Granting of the Independence to the Colonial Countries and People. This was the General Assembly Resolution 1514. And it says, and I quote, the subjection of peoples to allied subjugation, domination. We don't want to be dominated by the Fulanese. We don't want to be dominated by the Southeast. We don't want to be dominated by the Northeast or the Northwest. We want to have our own independent nation. Constitute a denial of fundamental human rights, is contrary to the Charter of the United Nations, and is an impediment to promotion of world peace and cooperation. The Yoruba nation movement is one of the most peaceful, and it will remain peaceful and calm 48 hours before we will finally be saying to the Nigerian government, the letter we sent to you have expired, and what next? Number 2, all peoples have the right to self-determination. Do not let any politician, do not let any media back in Nigeria, do not let anyone bully you to say we do not have the right to self-determination. We have the all right to self-determination. Let us continue all the mega rally that we are doing, but the main rally will be announced at the appropriate time by our leader, Professor Banji Akintoye, Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho, Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri. We must not lose our minds. We must remain focused. We must not allow ourselves to be disorganized by those that want to disorganize us, whether through whatever means of communication. We must remain absolute focus. Self-determination is our right. Inadequacy of political, economic, social, or educational preparedness should never serve as a pretext for delaying independence. We have the right to the mega rally that we are announcing that is going to come up soon. We should not be scared. We are the indigenous people, and nothing should make us to be worried. Let us listen to this before we go.
Who haven't decolonized or aren't willing to decolonize their familial, their religious, or their educational indoctrinations are spinning their heads on this one. Because you're still trying to control the narrative. A narrative that wasn't yours to ever gatekeep. It just has been because of colonization and white supremacy. You want to romanticize monarchy when in reality they have been the source of some of the most inhumane treatment of the indigenous people for generations. Here's the reality for all of us. The crumbling of patriarchy that is happening here in America is reverberating throughout the world. And you can no longer silence the masses who are carrying the pain of their ancestors. And your gatekeeping is looking like this. Well, they just need to be respectful of the dead. But those kinds of statements ignore the pain of the people who have been crying out for generations for their people to be honored and remembered. You have internalized the patriarchy to the point that you believe that a white woman's death overshadows that pain. If you truly want to decolonize, then sit in silence, hold the space, and let these videos teach you. Now, my second point is about religion, and you have some homework. Search for Queen Elizabeth II lineage to Henry VIII. So you can see how she became queen, and then you can understand this. Henry VIII broke away.
So you've heard that, and that is how we're going to be ending the program tonight. And I'm going to be giving it back to the studio. And tonight I say thank you so much to each and every one of us that have stayed tuned, with us again. Self-determination is our right, and we should not hesitate to talk about it. Once again, it is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'll be back again same time next week at exactly 1800 hours. And then we'll be discussing more issues as the campaign trail continues in Nigeria. We will also be discussing how the self-determination will also be doing their mega rally that will be announced very soon. Yeah, you will join me at other time on my timeline. If you want to follow me, you can go on my page and you'll be able to follow what I do outside Star Radio UK. But for now, I'd like to appreciate my producer, Mr. Frank David, Mr. Archie. Tomorrow is the property hour. Make sure you tune in as well. And I say a very good evening and welcome to each and every one of us. Bye for now. I'll be back same time next week. Bye for now. So, and that is how we're saying it on Star Radio UK. Um, I appreciate those of you that have joined us so far.
Which is it for you, Dr. Badaya? Do you think the government is unwilling or unable to protect the people of Southern Kaduna?
In fact, it is not only unable, it is unwilling, and we have good reason to feel that they are part and parcel of the killers. Let me make some revelations.
That's a very big allegation, Dr. Badaya. The government is part and parcel of the killers. That's big.
Yes. Okay. How will the government just say, oh, it is revenge killing and so on? Then you leave it there. Oh, because it is revenge killing and so on and so forth. The body language of this administration, the body language of the state government shows clearly that they have a hand in the killings. No doubt about it. Because you see, General Abacha, and people don't give him his due. Do you think that tolerated such nonsense? And let me make some revelations, because some of us also have our own intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. One or two who have repented. They have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram and the bandits are one and the same thing. They have a sophisticated network. During this lockdown, their planes were moving up and down because there was no lockdown. Moving ammunitions, moving logistics, moving money, and distributing them to different parts of the country. They are already in the south, in the rainforest of the south. They are everywhere. They told us that when we finish these rural killings, they will move to phase 2. The phase 2 is they will go into the urban cities, going from house to house, killing prominent people. I can tell you, this is the game plan. By 2022, they want to start a civil war in Nigeria.
And that's the reason, Timothy Sokwe, let us, send. Emma Bino, my face is not going to be able to come out because of the way I did the transmission back to the studio. I'm not sure whether it's, I can still capture myself, with the, what's it called? Anyway, let me just continue talking, even if my face doesn't come out. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kọ email tí mo ní ká kọ yẹn, ẹ má ká fi ṣeré, ẹ jẹ́ ká kọ email. The more email we can send to that particular, what's it called? Government official, the Commonwealth, the better. Good evening to you, my brother Ibukun. Modukola Ogbuale can say. This is how we'll be able to go as far as I can go tonight. There's a lot happening. Let us not lose focus. Focus in Gongoni can't keep see. They want to destabilize what we have. Awani Agbodo agree, and we must not allow our mind to be stressed. What they want to do is to stress our mind with so many things that is probably not even necessary, especially as the campaign will start now. Marelo mi tó yẹ pé àjọ ń ṣe Yorùbá nation nísìn orí kọ̀ bá arákùnrin àjọ máa ń ṣe meeting together ó ti wà lórí campaign trail because ó máa gba 5,000 ó máa gba 10,000. Let us also remember that it's poverty. A lot of people mind even the one Yoruba nation, but the problem is they are looking at the current situation in the contraction. Even everybody suffer left and right. I mean, that's not an excuse to follow the politician on a campaign trail. But trust me, you will see people that you know on a campaign trail because of 1,000, 10,000, Omafuani fela, Omafuani donut, Omafuani bonbon, and all whatever nonsense that they're going to get. But our Tiaduroton, Ejakawa no prepare for when they will call for our mega rally. But for now, the little rally. Àwọn Ìjẹ̀bú parapọ̀ wọ́n ní kí n jọ kí n sọ fún gbogbo èèyàn wa what she need some kind of support. You can reach out to them directly. A fi nọ́mbà yẹn sí ta nígbà tí màá ti Ọlá Ṣéhù tá à ń ṣe program lánàá fún òbí àmúṣe lè mú nọ́mbà yẹn jáde. And I think to gbọmọṣẹ lele, I'm not sure whether I even delete it. Okay, lele. Okay, I think no, I was smooth lele. Please, if you can still help them, the number to call is 08078536810. Mrs. Olayemi Bale, àbíkẹ́ pé bàbá wa Yorùbá Lówùnmí Ọláṣẹ́hù 08152421212 10,000 2,000 3,000 kọ́kọ́ fi parí ìtọ́fíṣe níjọ́ Friday níjẹ̀bú. It will go a long way. Kò ní sú wa, kò ní rẹ̀ wá o. We are doing our best from the media perspective. Friday, we will have multiple angles of images coming out. And I believe tomorrow there's another rally coming up tomorrow. We'll convert the details in your morning. There's something coming up as well tomorrow that I've been briefed. I think is on my WhatsApp. So that is coming up as well tomorrow. I want Shaki Mashi 20 October. Some people have been sending message. We want mega rallies October 1st. Nobody, from what I'm aware of, from Babakintoye or Chief Sunday IGBOHO has confirmed that mega rally is on the 1st of October. If anybody wants to do anything, that will be entirely up to them. But we are not having our mega rally on the 1st of October. Mokofisare mu ibi tó ti fẹ́ ṣe rally ti ọ̀la jáde. Okay, and I think I have it here. So quite a lot is happening, and I think ó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Aton Junction láti aago 9 lọ́la. Aton Junction. Tẹ́ bá fẹ́ mọ̀ nípa ẹ lè pe àwọn nọ́mbà tí mo fẹ́ pè jáde 08062103464 07040751384 07030416522 07031984298. Àwọn nọ́mbà tí ẹ lè pè sí nìyẹn fún ẹ̀yin tí ẹ bá fẹ́ darapọ̀ mọ́ wọn ní Aton ní ọ̀la ní Aton Junction. Ìyẹn nílùú Èkó ni rally yẹn ti máa wáyé. So there's a lot that is coming up as well. And as we have it on my table, I would give you all those information as well. We are working around the clock from the KOIKIMEDIA team. Our team are working around the clock. Wherever the rally is going to come up, we will definitely give you all the information as we have it as well. Once again, once again, a very good evening. As I'm going to be ending this live transmission, if I have the strength, we might come back tonight. If not, I will come back maybe first thing in the morning where we will have a more program. Again, Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ àwọn terrorist Fúlàní wọ́n máa ṣe wakekeeping wọn. A máa transmit it láti US lórí KOIKIMEDIA. We are working with the family. We will be bringing that live as well. So quite a lot is happening, but we should not lose focus. If you have been trying to get hold of me, you will have to be very, very patient. Send the message. I will pick it up at the appropriate time. There's a lot on my table that we are dealing with because there's a lot going on. Wọ́n pa ìkànnà comrade wa ní lánàá ìyẹn ṣáná ni ṣá yeah I think so yeah ní Òkè Ògùn area yẹn so tí bá ti kọ́rọ̀ lórí fóònù sí lórí live yìí sè I have to speak to people mo ti bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ láàárọ̀ yìí get some more update and all that so quite a lot is happening so if I can't come back live today don't be at least we can do another program tomorrow and educate ourselves so let me go now so that I can start the community call in wọlé throughout the whole program mo ń gba calls as well so mo dúpẹ́ lọ gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ gbọ́ wa ní alẹ́ yìí orúkọ tèmi náà ni Ọláyọmí Kóìkì oorun ayọ̀ la máa sùn ó dàárọ̀ and I'll play the anthem just to close the broadcast and then we'll be back again some other time and eba túbọ̀ máa ṣàdúrà fún àwọn ọmọ wa tó ń crisscross because they keep moving from point A to B. Thank you so much Yawa Liz Dadadare Samuel. Bye for now.
Life is so funny. You come with nothing, then fight for everything, and later leave everything and go back with empty hand. God is power.
Bye for now.